Welcome back, Programming 11. We are going to be building upon um, our PewPew game. Right now, you cannot PewPew very much. You have a player. You have this game object superclass that everything's based on, and you even have a loop that is going to manage all of the objects in the world, but no PewPew. I believe it looks something like this right now. Yahoo! You can move. That's great, but there's no PewPew. So let's make it happen. We're going to make the bullet class today. I made a new tab called bullet, and I'm going to be putting in class bullet extends game object. This is a big deal. This is the big new thing we're doing. Is we're making a game object class, which we made on Monday of this week. For most of you, some of you did it on Tuesday, I suppose. And yeah, we are putting all the common stuff that is similar in all the objects in the game. Things like coordinates, speed, hit points, size, color. All these things are kind of baked into this foundational class, and then we just have to build on top of it. We built the player on top of the game object. Now we're going to build the bullet on top of the game object. So the bullet's a bit complicated because we have to figure out how it is we're going to shoot the bullet from the player. So our bullet constructor is going to be a little bit tricky. So I'm going to make a bullet constructor that, that basically gets told where to go. Actually, no, I think I'm going to make a default constructor. And I'm going to tell it to use the super constructor. You'll notice that it's complaining here. It's like, what's wrong? Implicit super constructor, PewPew, blah, blah, blah. So because this is extending game object, we have to call the super class to say, hey, do this stuff. And we can use, for example, this right here. We can use this one. We could send it an X and a Y, a size, an HP, and a color. So I'm going to tell it to use the superclass constructor. I'm going to send it the player's X coordinate, so I can say, I think it's called myPlayer.x, myPlayer.y. What else does it need? It also needs the size, the hit points, and the color. The players are 20 wide, so I think our bullets maybe will be like 5 wide. Hit points, I'm just going to give it 1 hit point, and color, I'm going to keep it the same color as the, whatchamacallit, as the player. There we go. Yeah, awesome. So that will basically make a bullet at the player. It doesn't have a VX and a VY right now, so I'm just going to be lazy and just give it a VX of 0 and a VY. I want it to go up, so I guess that would be VY of -10. Now, this means we're not aiming. VX and VY are how fast and what direction this moves. It's the rise and run of the slope of the line along which it travels. So this means it's going to be going straight up, and that's not that exciting. I'd like to aim it eventually, but this is a good start. So how about this show function? Well, I think the game object's function works just fine. It just fills with color and shows it at a particular size, so we don't have to make a show function. We can just inherit the game object's function, and that'll be just fine. Oh, how about an act function? Well, the bullet really just has to move for now. Eventually we'll want it to collide with things, and that'll be important, but for now, I think we're good with the act function. So we don't actually have to make a show or an act. We can just use the superclasses, and if you don't type it in here, then it's assuming that it's using the show and act from its superclass. Well, that didn't take long. The bullet was actually pretty easy to make, and that's why this is suddenly starting to become a thing that we're doing. This superclass concept does take a lot of work at the beginning, but it makes things easier as we go forward. Okay, so this will probably change in the future, but we'll start with this. There's our bullet class. It'd be nice to see a bullet fly. Right now, the bullets don't show up or anything. So let me show you how we're going to make a bullet show up. This is going to be a big deal. This is the first time we are creating objects that live, are born during the running of the game as opposed to during setup. So in the player class, you'll notice that we at some point made this shoot function, and we left it blank. I'd like to be able to shoot when I press the mouse. So I'm going to say something like, if mouse pressed, then I will shoot. And what am I going to do? I'm going to say objects.add new bullet. What does that do? So basically, remember objects? this is our list of all the objects in the game. In the previous video, we made this list of objects, and in the setup, we even added the player to it, just the same way, or pretty close to the same way anyways. And then over here in the game, we're running through this list and constantly telling all the objects in the objects list to show and act. So when we do this, we're going to add a new bullet to the list, and then it will automatically start showing and acting. All it's going to do is just go straight up, I think. Let's find out. So if I click, pew pew, yeah, I can shoot now, pew 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 pew. So they're going straight up. So that's a good start. I would like to change this so that I can aim. I'd like to aim at the mouse. It's a little bit difficult, surprisingly. I don't know. The math is not that far off from some of the things we've done, but it's a little bit tricky. So we're going to make that happen coming up in the next video. Okay, so there's our bullet class, and try to make that happen and take a look at the next video to see how we're going to aim our bullets and also make them expire once they go off the screen. Okay, thanks everybody.